Peace. Infinite waters diving deep once again. We are out here in nature, baby. We've got the birds everywhere. I got a question that came in. How can we tell the difference between our false self and our real self? How to recognize your true self? That's a great question. Let's just... Woo! Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Much love to you beautiful deep divers. Do you find yourself playing different roles? Someone was asking, like, how can they just stop for one moment playing all of these different roles? Like, they're one way to their parents, they're one way to their friends, and then they're another way to the cat down the road. And we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello? How to recognize your true self. How to tell the difference between your true self and your false self. Well, let me share with you what's helped me along my journey. I started to realize this, that from the moment we are born, we begin to move away from our true self because we have parents that want to mold us. We've got society that wants to mold us. And we're just like, can we just play in peace, please? Because everyone is trying to mold you into something that you are not. And then down the line, we forget our inner child. We forget what used to make us smile, and we move more into the ego mind, the false self. So let me share with you today how I stay connected to my true self, my authentic self. And this is really where you're going to find your greatest power. Now, our false self is always the ego mind. The ego is a 3-letter word that can destroy a 12-letter word called a relationship. Our ego is fed by us living in our false self, that which we are not. So anytime you find yourself in the ego, what I call living upstairs, chances are you are now embodying the false self of who you truly are. Our ego is created out of survival. And it's not bad, it's just that it moves us out of the heart space. So I started to realize this. To really move into the truth of who I am, my true authenticity, to move back into the true self, you have to become ego-less. And the more you become ego-less, you start to realize that that ego, that massive ego you have, is just not you. It's not you. The ego separates. Only the heart can connect us. Slow motion this side. The ego has created all of these borders, these divisions, these boundaries. So if you find yourself sometimes putting up all of these walls around everywhere, chances are this is part of your ego coming out, and it's gonna move you more into the false self. And that is why we are playing so many roles in society. Many of us have been conditioned by living up to society's expectations. We can't be our real selves because we have depended on our egos for so long as a false sense of protection. The ego can never protect you because the ego puts up boundaries. When you think it is protecting you, it is actually creating a prison for you. Slow motion this side. So it was time for me to move outside of the prison. And the more you do that, the ego now takes a back seat and the heart is in the front driving. Let love guide you, not fear. Let love guide you, not fear. That is how to really move more into the truth of who you are. How can we tell the difference between our false self and the ego? What also helped me along my journey was realizing this, that our ego is always around the corner. You're there again. Okay. Many of us, we crave other people's attention, and that is beautiful. But many times this actually moves us more into our false self because we are living up to other people's expectations of us. We would rather please other people than we would please ourselves. We crave other people's attention. Look at me, look at me. But many times underneath it, we're not 100% happy because we know we aren't really being our true selves. So what really helped me along my journey was to realize this. You know that you are moving closer towards your true self when you start craving your own inner attention. Slow motion this side. When you start craving your own inner attention, like saying, gosh, I'm actually happy with who I am today. I actually accept myself for who I am today. Then you start to find yourself moving more into your true self as opposed to your false self. Many of us, we don't like to admit that all we want to do is just be accepted by other people. That is why it's very hard to stop caring what other people think, because we don't exist. Only other people do. And that is really the false self. The true self realizes that it's all up here. The perception I have of myself is greater than the perception other people have of me. And the more I start to see myself in a more favorable, honorable way, the more I move closer towards my true self. And the cat down the road is agreeing to that. How to recognize your true self. Is it my true self or is it my false self? Now, 7-Day Vegan Challenge, blowing up real crazy on the Snapchat. I'm breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Were you as a child, this is a question to you beautiful deep divers, always attracted to candy, sweet things? I was, especially around holiday seasons, like pass me those chocolate eggs, right? I had a sweet tooth. Then I realized down the line, it was really bad for me. And sometimes I was like, who cares? It just tastes good. And then the older I got, I started to realize, no, this is really bad for me. I got to put this junk food down and start realizing we are what we eat. Every 35 days, our body makes new cells from the foods that we eat. So junk in, junk out. You got the right nutrients and vitamins in, you get that out. So by eating a more plant-based diet, every single day, I'm starting to move more into my true self. Because once again, we got to realize that so many of us, we are overstimulated on the planet. Okay? Like a lot of these foods are full of MSG, really bad for you. And I started to realize this is not how I want to live life. I don't want to be eating refined white sugar, table salt, and ending up in a hospital. I want to live free in nature, baby. And I plucked an apple from the tree. and started to realize a secret. That health is wealth. And the more you are eating to live, the more you are moving into your true self. Because food is information. If you are eating foods that are actually altering your DNA in a negative way, maybe you've got way too much caffeine, you're going to be overstimulated. So you aren't going to be yourself because you are currently being occupied by foreign entities called junk food. So once you get rid of that, start juicing, got the spirulina going, complete source of protein. I've seen that's really what's helped me move more into my true self. I get it. A lot of us, we are so drawn to the flashing lights. And that's really what the false self loves. The false self has been offered a deal. I will give you everything, false self, for the price of your soul. Oh yeah. And the false self is like, okay, I'll take it. Your true self can't be bought with any price because it is priceless. Slow motion this side. So people always ask Ralph, how does it feel to be inspiring millions of people? And my false self would like me to believe that I'm someone so different. Because the false self creates a lot of hierarchy. And I started to realize this is the illusion. I am not better than anybody else. That is the true self speaking. The true self always reminds you of the interconnectedness between everything. I talk to everyone and anyone. That's the true self. Do you remember when you were really small and you had a bunch of your friends, and when you were talking to them, it didn't matter what country they were from, the color of their skin, you were just playing and doing roly-polies and stuff. That's the true self. The false self, being the ego mind, once again looks for differences. The true self looks for similarity. And I started to realize that is the secret. Your true self will always be attempting to bring you closer with people who remind you who you are. Your false self will always remind you that these people are different from you. Maybe you're better than them, right? That's what your false self does. Or maybe it will tell you you are below them. Your true self will tell you you are equal. And that's really what's helped me along my journey. Take off the mask. Our false self, you asked about role-playing. That's what it loves to do. It loves to be in disguise. It loves to wear different attires and costumes and have even wardrobe malfunctions, right? It loves to get in all kinds of outfits. It loves to wear different masks. Our false self is the actor. Let me repeat that. Our false self is the actor. It is playing many different roles, many different characters, but it is not the truth of who we are. The truth of who we are is something so much more powerful than we can even comprehend. And I started to realize this, that along my early journey, I used to wear a lot of masks. Be one way to my parents, one way to my friends, one way at work, one way to myself. And I realized this wasn't making me happy. Because the cat down the road was saying, "Who the hell are you, Ralph?" And I'm like, I don't even know who I am. You go back to ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt. On every temple it said, know thyself. Once you begin to know thyself, you begin to learn more about the secrets of the universe. And you begin to realize that authenticity comes when you accept yourself the way you are, and then you present yourself that way you are to everybody. Even if they don't like it, so sorry. I can't help you, because right now I'm all about moving into my true self, and I'm going to be 100% real with anybody I meet, because I'm not looking for the differences my false self would want me to look for. My true self is saying, I'm going to treat the janitor and the CEO exactly the same. Slow motion this side. Mascara. Mascara comes from an Arabic word, masquerade, meaning absolutely ridiculous. And that's how I felt wearing a mask. In ancient Greece, they used to wear masks, and it was beautiful. It was fantastic. Even the cat down the road was chilling back then. And guess what? It was a form of acting, one of the earliest forms of acting. They would talk through their mask. Their mask was a persona, per meaning through, sona going to the word for sound, sonus. Through sound, speaking through the mask. It was a great way to express yourself and really experiment with these different characters that you can be and the multiple personalities that live within us. But once again, it was a form of acting. When we talk about being, we are now letting go of the persona, the mask, and we are in a state of being. There is no acting. It is a state of being. How to recognize your true self. Talk to me, Ralph, baby. What helped me along my journey was to realize this. Your false self loves to compete. Your false self is really in the human race. No pun intended. It's really in a race. It competes. It fights for its slice of bread. It will do anything to win this illusory race, this illusion. The human race. Where are we running to? Nobody knows. We're still trying to find out the destination. Your false self is always occupied with reaching a destination. Competing, comparing, putting people down to make yourself feel better. Because once again, the false self can never comprehend unity. Only the true self can do that. So I started to realize this, that the more I stopped competing with everyone and started saying, can I get a hello? I started to become my true self because I was accepting who I was, my weird nature. I love it. That is really your authentic self. What you find weird about yourself is really the beauty of who you are, because it's going to make you stand out. And once you love this uniqueness, you start to admire and look for the light of your own soul. More so, you start to realize that you have everything you need inside of yourself. Slow motion this side. Our true self is never in lack because it knows we have everything we need. The true self doesn't even believe in the concept of time or money. Only the false self does. Our true self knows so long as we are in alignment with our true purpose and calling, we will always be taken care of. So long as we are doing what we know we came here to do, so long as we are becoming who we came here to be, we're just chilling. We'll be all right. We'll be fine. The false self is always worrying because once again, it doesn't know who it is. The true self is like, I got this. We got this. We got this. And then you just say, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello? Much love, you beautiful deep divers. We are out here in the heart of nature, just woo, getting high off that good ass prana. Have a beautiful day. Infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace. You.